Hello everyone, today on day 364, can you believe it? We're going to look at a summary of the 1 year life transformation. I never thought I would be here. 354 videos, and I think it's more outstanding for the people who have watched them all, let alone to make them all. So I thank you for being here, I honour your presence, and as always, I'm going to begin with a quote on the subject, and that quote is, "We shall not cease from exploration. At the end of all our exploring, we will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time." T.S. Eliot. I'll repeat that. We shall not cease from exploration. We'll keep moving. And at the end of our exploration, when we finally have looked at everything, we will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. What is T.S. Eliot saying here? He's saying we're okay. One of the things that happens from reading every book and learning everything about the world and nature is that the more you learn, the more you start to think, I was okay before I started learning. You were born with the divine right to experience the universe through your conscious perspective in order to bring it into reality. You're cool. You can learn lots about it, you can understand it, but understanding that you come from a place of goodness is really, really important. So my personal story is getting up each day for you and me. So doing 365 videos every single day, for one per day every single day, and loading them to social media. I don't know if it's ever been done before by anyone. And I think that's a cool thing. Now, how did I do it though? So how did I achieve this goal? Well, I achieved it because I had two people in mind, you and me. And there were times where I really wanted to do the videos and I was up and excited and getting involved. But there were times where I didn't really want to do the videos. But I thought, maybe you really wanted the videos. So it was such an incredible opportunity to draw off the strength of the individuals who wanted the videos and my own want too. And I want to thank you for that. So what were the key messages? If we did 364 videos, some people aren't going to watch them all. That's not the way it was designed. But some people may want a bit of a cheat sheet so that when they go back they know what to look for. Well, number one, we understood that the obstacle is the way. The problem which you have created in your mind is the path. You must go through that problem in order to achieve. We talked about the boulder being in front of the road, and you can sit there all day and complain about the boulder on the road. But your path is now a boulder and a road, and now you can overcome them and enjoy the process. There is no problem outside of thought, something I've said all through the series. And when you really think about that statement, there is no problem outside of thought or the thought of the problem, you liberate yourself from having to dwell and stress on these things. Problems are simply a sign of life, and you can overcome any of them or they wouldn't exist. Number two, the superpower of mindfulness. It is my superpower, and if I was a Marvel comic hero, it wouldn't be, I don't think the movie would sell very well, because that superpower of mindfulness may not be very obvious or spectacular, but geez, does it change the world. Giving your attention to the present moment and honouring the present moment creates the fabric of reality. So it's all that matters. Anything outside honouring the present moment really is redundant. So understanding how to do that is really important. One of the first videos was how to be mindful. I look back on that video, I can barely recognize myself even though it's only been a year, because I've grown so much through that year of practicing those very skills. It was 5 steps, and the video is very important to understanding how we can bring it into our everyday. Your true self, not the ego mind created that I'm sitting behind these eyeball self, but the self that creates the fabric of the universe, that you are really, truly the clouds, the sun, the people you interact with, the ground that you stand on, and including this body that you have around you. You are all these things, but more importantly, you are the silent observer of all these things unfolding around you. You are the timeless part. Yes, your body will die. Yes, you will age. Yes, the tree that you were planted and watered will die. But the awareness of those things existing will never disappear, and that's your true self. As a hint. Forgiveness. Jesus nailed this. That's really his entire message was forgiveness. And he was so aware that people weren't forgiving themselves. He created a system where he goes, I'll forgive you. I don't even need to hear what it is. I'll forgive you immediately. Because what happens when you forgive yourself? You start fresh in this moment. Carrying the baggage from the past, the things you did wrong, will not help anyone, including you, especially if you want to change. You are not your name, you are not your history. The past does not equal the future. You are not your problems, and you are not your past actions. You are a complete, new, sparkling individual in this moment who can make great choices in this moment. But you can't do that if you haven't forgiven yourself. If you find it hard to forgive yourself for things you've done in the past, forgive other people, and you'll start to learn the lesson. The present moment. The present moment. You know, I am sorry if I've said this a million times. No, hashtag not sorry, because it's all that matters. There's nothing you can achieve in the past, and there's nothing you can achieve in the future. You were gifted the present. You know, the old quote is that's why it's called a present, because it's a gift, is where you live. You were dead in the past, you were dead in the future. You live in the present moment. If you live here, treat it with respect. Mass media. Starting to understand now, and the more I see it, the more I think I'm proven right. So the mass media is not designed to educate you. It's not designed to give you a fair outlook on the world. It is a way to sell advertising. And there's nothing wrong with that, unless you believe it's trying to give you a clear picture of the world and is here to educate you. That's the only time it becomes a problem. Now, I've done a master's in advertising, so I know the tricks and the way that people design these sort of adverts towards you, and it was a huge insight for me on why I had to get out, because ultimately it does work on a subconscious level. And so many people say to me, Brad, I still watch the news, it doesn't affect me. Well, I still, consume hours and hours of advertising, it doesn't affect me. Well, you're better than me, because I think that my subconscious was affected. I think that my body image was affected, and I think that cutting it out gave me more time in my life to do better things and made me feel better on myself. And it's something I would love everyone to try, even for a week or two. The relationship to self. We talked about relationships, we talked about sex, we talked about love, we talked about connection, and all of it had one key theme. No matter the problem, until you fix and give some love and water and grow and nurture your relationship with who you see as yourself, everything external is meaningless, pointless. Your relationship to yourself is your number one priority. It will create your happiness or your unhappiness, depending on how much time you give it. The observer effect. Quantum mechanics. I think a lot of people stress out by, say, day 13 because I start going into physics very, very deeply. But it was just to set the groundwork on how science has proven these concepts over and over again. The observer effect is very, very simple. Something cannot be measured until it is observed, and it requires a conscious observer to be measured. Now, this is explained with a double slit experiment and other things in regards to entanglement and waveform collapsing, which I've talked about in the past, but to give you a quick understanding in one sentence, because we're doing a summary, you bring into reality this current moment through your conscious observation of it. Brad, that sounds crazy. Maybe, but think about this. Let's say that I'm going to talk to you about, say, 3 things that happened in my day. But during that time, you're going to daydream about your day. And then I ask you 10 minutes later, what were those 3 things in my day? You say, oh, sorry, I was daydreaming. I can't remember. I don't know. The information didn't seep in. So because you didn't apply your conscious attention, to you, that thing didn't even happen. It doesn't even exist because you weren't attentive and you weren't the observer. Be the observer. It's so important. There is no guarantee that anyone outside of your framework exists in reality, because you are the only person who's aware of your consciousness. Sure, other people talk and look like they're conscious, but you can't prove that. In fact, you can't even prove they're not there when you look away. So rather than stress about it so much, make sure that you're treating yourself as a conscious observer with great respect. The next decision is the most important decision of your life. No matter how many videos you've watched, no matter how many things you've done in the past, you only have one decision to make. That takes the stress off. Only one decision. That's your next decision. And that decision, the power and the goodness and the kindness and the love applied to that decision will create the fabric of your reality. Current decisions form future trends. And if you're making good decisions on your next decision, ultimately your life will take a course for the better. Huge thank you, and I really enjoy connecting with you because I really do see you as another version of myself that I love to get to know, which helps me experience the universe. We talk about you have to have a subject and an object for reality to come into place, and without you, none of this could have happened. So I'm really thankful, I've really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. One more video, the last video, 365. Until then, goodbye.